name's Neal Brown, and I am from Western Kentucky, and I travel around in a little bitty homemade teardrop camper, and pull it with a little Chevrolet pickup truck. This is a 2007 Chevrolet Silverado, and I've had it for about 8 months. Before that, I pulled my little camper with a 4-cylinder car, so it's real lightweight. This truck I got specifically because when I worked, I had a fleet of vehicles that I had to maintain, and this particular model will go for 250 to 300,000 miles if you take care of it. So I searched for this truck and this model of truck until I found it, it's been nothing but great. Everything always works, and I'm not a Chevy versus Ford guy or anything, just whatever runs good. I just know this model runs really well. So probably the best thing and the worst thing I did was bring my motorcycle out here with me. I thought I'd be able to bring it out here and run it around in the desert, but this is not really made for the rocks and the sand to even go to that to get to dirt to get to the paved roads. And I pretty much took this and custom built it to me because I'm a triple amputee and I can't pull a clutch and I can't shift gears. So I had to get this bike, which is a Honda clone, and I did do a lot of things to it to get to ride it, but it's only got 2 wheels, so I don't need a trike, so I can still ride it just like normal. But it kind of lives in the back of the truck right now because there's no point in getting down out of the back of the truck. The roads out here just aren't meant for me to ride this thing on. This is the budget-minded person's best option for a bike, and if you can't pedal, which I can't pedal. So this is a Razor Echo Smart scooter. I've had it a couple of weeks, and it gets me around very well around the campgrounds and going out in the desert, light duty kind of stuff. It's not a dirt bike. It's not a mountain bike. This is an adult electric scooter, but it gets me around very well, and I can charge it on my solar system. And more importantly for me, I have to, everything that I do, everything that I own, I have to be able to pick up myself. So I can pick this up and put it in the back of the truck, no problem.
So this would probably work out better than your motorcycle.
Yes. Now the motorcycle I can get out of the back of the truck with ramps. I can load it and unload it myself.
I wonder how you did that.
But yeah, it's just ramps. But I just have to be sitting. I have to set the truck in the right place so I have the right angle to get in and out. So I'm just not getting it down anymore. It's not worth the effort out here. But yeah, this one is really easy for me to handle.
All right. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am. In my 40s, I have a grown son. I am now forcibly retired from fire and EMS service, and I also worked a regular career. So I worked a regular full-time career during the week, and then on the nights and the weekends, I worked at the fire department and ambulance service. And about 7 years ago, I got a sore throat, and it turned out to be a MRSA infection, and it was misdiagnosed a couple times, and by the time that they figured out what was going on, I had been in the ER, I had died, they brought me back, and I was in ICU. So I was in a coma for 3 weeks, and when I woke up from the coma, I couldn't feel my feet or my fingers. My feet and my fingers were black, and so I lost all the parts of off this hand, and I'm left-handed. So, I wrote a book about it. It's called Stand Tough. It was an Amazon bestseller, and so anyone's more than welcome to read it or not, either way. But I learned to walk again and learned to get on with life, and so now I'm out here. So this entire setup that I have right now is kind of my alternate setup. I always have the awning out. I also have an entire tent room that is completely enclosed that goes here, but I just set up the awning and set up a privacy tarp here if I'm not sure whether I'm going to stay right here or move a couple of spots over or whatever, because taking the tent up and down can be a hassle. But,
does this help with the wind as well?
Yes, it does help with the wind, and it helps with the sun. It keeps this area over here cool. So even though it's cool outside, the sun still gets real bright. So I have my cooking set up here. It's dirty right now because we had a bad windstorm and some things fell over. And so I do all my normal cooking here. I don't bake, but I'm a bachelor, and bachelors don't really bake anyway. So I cook on a 2-burner stove, and I do not use the little green bottles for this. I got a propane canister. It's well worth the money, and so I cook on a 2-burner. Most of the things I do in a skillet, and use a tea kettle for warming my water. I have other pans and whatnot, but these are the 2 main things I use, so it always stays right here on my stove. So when I have my tin up, I do all of my cooking right here, and my stove will sit right here at this spot. So I've got my sink here. I've got my basic foodstuffs and everything else, and all my other pots and pans and whatnot. I have running water, which is a real luxury out here, and I facilitated that by getting a 9-gallon ATV sprayer tank, and it comes with a pump already installed, and so that's on the front, right next to the batteries. I have 9 gallons in the tank up front, and then I have enough storage to carry about 15 gallons of water with me. But my water from the sink right here comes from the tank in the back, and so I have running water, and that is a true luxury out here. For my cold storage, I use a 5-day cooler. This is a Igloo 5-day cooler, so it's pretty inexpensive. I wrapped it in Reflectix, and that gives me about an extra day and a half worth of ice. The only thing I can say about having a cooler is if you have a cooler that you can put a basket in, get the basket for it. It makes all the difference in the world. So right now I just bought a 20-pound block of ice, and that 20-pound block of ice will last me about 8 days in this cooler. So the reason I built this was because as an amputee I had problems climbing up steps, and so if I tried to get a pop-up or something like that, I had problems climbing up into things like that. And also, this is small enough, it's on a 4-foot by 8-foot frame. If I need to pick it up and move it a little bit, I can. I can't do that with a regular camper. So everything that is in this is built towards the fact that I don't have legs on all the time, so I can sit down into this easily. Everything is within reach. So I have the lights above my head, the fire extinguisher is right here. I can get to all of the things that I have in here sitting right here, so I don't have to put my legs on. So when I get in here at night to bed down, I can take my legs off, and I have everything available to me. That is including I have a composting toilet, and I have a travel urinal. That's as someone for me in the middle of the night, I'm not going to put my legs on to get up and go outside and go to the bathroom. So I have to make accommodations for that, and that's no big deal. When I was in the hospital, I learned all about taking a bath, going to the bathroom, and taking care of personal hygiene, sitting in a bed. So all of that's no problem for me. When I take a bath, when I take my legs off at night and I'm in here, I have to clean my legs and all the accoutrements for my prosthetics with an antibacterial stuff. And so I get clean from the waist down. I use the same type of washcloths that they gave me in the hospital, so I could use them in bed. And I can take care of that in here. I can take care of it while I'm sitting and watching TV. If it's cold at night, I can turn on the buddy heater, and I can hang it up directly. It heats this place up in about 5 minutes. I can shut it off. I'm good for hours. But everything that I need as someone who has mobility issues is all taken care of in this little camper.
So I noticed you have vents up?
Yes, I have a fantastic fan, and it's not the super great fantastic fan. It doesn't raise or lower. It just has 2 flaps on either side of it. So it has 1 speed, but if I flip a switch on it, the flaps close up, and instead of becoming a venting fan, it is a ceiling fan, and it blows air back down. So in as small a camper as this is, as small of space as it is inside of here, this is perfect for me. And it's opaque, but it acts as a skylight also. So during the day, I don't have to run lights or anything like that.
you also have 2 windows, and that helps with ventilation as well.
Yes, I have 2 super huge windows for the size of camper that I have. My 2 windows are super huge. I think they're 36-inch windows. They're probably too big for this camper, but I got a good deal on them when I bought them. But they're 36-inch by 20-something, so I get massive amounts of cross flow, and I wouldn't recommend putting these in to anyone else that's going to build one. It's just the windows I happen to get, and I thought bigger is better.
So I see you do have a TV for entertainment. Is that a 12-volt?
It's a 12-volt TV, and it comes with a plug that you can just plug into any type of cigarette lighter adapter. And out here where we're at right now, I only get about 3 channels, and they're all Spanish, so I'm really not getting much entertainment value out of it because I don't speak Spanish. But it works great. It has very little draw, and it's just the right size for in here because I'm only about 5 feet from the TV, so it looks like a big screen even though it's pretty small. And of course I've got my computer in here also, so I can do Netflix and all of that. And that's about it. I carry 10 days worth of clothes in the cabinets in here, but I'm a guy and I only wear t-shirts and shorts all the time, so it's not a hard thing for me to do. So I can get myself clean from the waist down on the inside because I have to anyway because of my prosthetics. They have to be antibacterial clean because I wear these all day long and they get grubby and grimy. So that's how I clean myself from the waist down. If I want to shower outside, as long as I have a little bit of privacy, when I make my coffee in the morning, I make it using my kettle. When I'm done with that, with the water for the coffee, the rest of it goes in here, so I have a hot shower. This is a little pump, and I can hold it in either hand. So whether I'm using it with this thumb or what's left over here, I can spray. And I can give myself a shower. I can shampoo my hair, and I can shower my upper body, no problem. I prefer this over the big 2-gallon sprayers because this is just super handy. It doesn't take up much space, and I can just do what I need to do with this right here. So I get to have a shower. It's not like having a shower at home with tons and tons of hot water, but it's still a shower.
So, but if they want more information, they can always check out your channel if you would.
Yeah, my channel is Teardrop RV Travels, and I do my travels, my working on my camper. I also train Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, so there's a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu on my channel. A little bit of everything that I do is on there, but right now there's a lot of travel.
And I'll put a link at the end of the video for them.
Thank you. So the only type of washing liquid that I use is all eco-friendly, and normally what I have coming out of here is a little hose, but I was just on the BLM land a week or 2 ago, and a fox decided to chew it up, so I have to pick up some more hose for my drain line. This is drain line coming from the sink. The only thing that comes from it is the wash water from the sink. So right now I just have a bucket, and then I take the bucket and I dispose of that wash water in an appropriate manner, the way the BLM would appreciate us to. So it's a very simple setup, and when I'm traveling, of course the bucket becomes storage for other things, and then I take the little white hose out and I put a sewer cap on it, and it's just fine.
So I see you have some form of antenna there. What is that?
Yeah, that is it's just a very simple TV antenna, and it plugs right in outside. I put in the outside plug because when I first started camping, if you go to campgrounds, you can get cable. But I think if I did it again, I would just put a permanent mount on the roof because it's a pain in the butt to have to get this thing out, and then I have to make sure that when I do my final checks before I pull off, did I take the antenna down, and it doesn't get a great reception. It doesn't pull in as many channels as a big one would. So, but it's nice to have. So I have 60 watts on top and 100 amp hour battery, and in the summertime 60 watts is great. It takes care of all of my needs. Out here in the winter time, when there's not as much sun, it's still pretty good, but when I want to charge things like my little scooter, that really drains my system, and then I have to recover for a day. So I really need to put another 40 or 50 watts on top to make up for that, especially with the wintertime sun. But I have Renichi panels. They're very easy to install, and I have my entire setup is underneath in my galley, and it's very simple. A 200 watt inverter takes care of all of my needs, and I live great off of 100 amp hours of battery.
Okay, so how long have you been traveling?
I've been traveling in this camper with this setup for about 3 years.
Okay, and is that how long you've been traveling?
Well, I've traveled all my life. I did a lot of traveling for work. When I actually built this camper, I built it because I was traveling to train jiu-jitsu and to compete in jiu-jitsu, and it was too expensive staying in a hotel room for $100 a night. So I built this, and it paid for itself in about 2 weeks. I discovered that I enjoyed the travel so much that now instead of traveling just for jiu-jitsu, I travel and then I find jiu-jitsu along the way.
Awesome. And along that 3 years, what have you learned that you can share with someone else if they're just starting out? What would be your advice?
Well, I could think of all kinds of little things that everyone has already heard, so if you don't mind, I might be pretty specific to people who are mobility limited like I am.
That would be wonderful.
You can get out here and do whatever you want to do, but understand your own limits. Once you understand those, find ways to work around those. I can't carry a 20-pound block of ice that I just put in my cooler, so I have a little folding dolly that I unfold and I can carry heavy things with. I don't come out here looking for any type of help from anyone, although everyone tries to help me. So make sure that you can be self-sufficient if you're mobility limited. Bring the things that you need to get through your daily life. Know your limits and then learn how to work around them. And I guess that would really work for anybody that's traveling like that, but especially for those that are mobility limited. You can come out here and do it. I don't have legs, and I can come out here and do this. So anybody can. You just have to know your limits and know how to work around them.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. My name is Neal Brown. My channel is Teardrop RV Travels. Thanks to Asha for doing this video today and letting me show you my camper and how I get around out here in the deserts. Remember, no legs, no problem.